I am sure most extremely attractive people know they are attractive, while men who have not been blessed in the genetics department are probably also aware of this. What about the men in the 5.5 to 7 out of 10 range? They are probably not turning heads. But when women take a second look, they think, he does not look too bad. Story 1. The first time I realized it was when I got my first girlfriend. After meeting her friends for the first time, she said, "All my friends think you are cute." For the first time ever, I thought, women, plural, think I am cute? It was a good confidence boost. Story 2. People generally treat you differently based on how attractive they find you. If people go out of their way to talk to you, see you, do things for you, or agree with some things you say or want to do, then you are most likely attractive. Story 3. I would disagree with you. I think many very attractive people do not realize how attractive they are. Story 4. I think that when you are already in the average range, it becomes very subjective if you are slightly above average. I have had some women say I am above average on the scale, and some say I am below average. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Story 5. As a woman, I can tell you that I have been very attracted to below average, slightly unattractive men. After talking to my female friends, I realized this is very common. It really is about the energy and posture overall. Being confident without being arrogant is the hard balance to strike. So you should not mind if you are below average. You got this, my friends. Fly. Story 6. I have no idea. I think if I were, I would probably not accept that. My brain just assumes I do not look good. And that is all. I have no idea if I look good. Story 7. If you have dated someone you had a crush on, you are above average looking. If someone has had a crush on you, you are above average. Story 8. I catch people looking at me in public quite often. I am generally an anxious person, so I tend to scan crowds a lot when I am out and about, and I often notice people's eyes lingering on me. Granted, I am somewhat tall and I have long hair for a man, so that might draw some attention, but I also recognize that women laugh at objectively unfunny jokes I make more often than not. Story 9. Women do not fawn over you like the 9s and 10s, but at the same time, they treat you with a certain level of ambiguity. They are open enough to ascertain whether they will like you, yet closed enough to say they were not being overly flirtatious. It is fun. I have been told I have a cute face and often told I look younger than I am, in my late 20s. When I properly cut my hair, consistently work out, and dress nicely, I could easily pass for someone's 8 to 8.5, but usually fall somewhere between 7 and 8. Story 10. Honestly, I look at my peers, friends, family, and strangers. After that, it is subjective, meaning what a given person thinks is attractive. I can acknowledge someone is attractive without being attracted to them. But there is a baseline. They clearly exercise, eat well, sleep well, have a decent skincare routine, manage their hair, and dress appropriately for their physique. These are all physical and immaterial points of attraction. Story 11. I wouldn't know. I like to view myself as being in the upper average sector, so not enough to cause unusual attention. But a couple of times in my life, I just got the clothes and hair right and actually felt handsome, which of course will radiate out of you and earn you an extra 0.5 points. The moment you get that attention really is something else. Tip to young average men. Prepare mentally for the day a woman approaches you and not the other way around. Can happen, and don't tell yourself it can't. If you are not prepared though, you may go into shock and ruin it. Trust me, that is unpleasant afterwards. Story 12. I've always heard that I'm a good-looking lad, but I would say my self-confidence in my early 20s held me back a lot. Now I've entered my 30s and I am over 28 pounds heavier with 4 years of strong discipline in the gym behind me. I get the same amount of looks. I think I am honestly a 6 or so, but my personality is great and I will have you laughing soon enough. Story 13. Gain more than 5 kilograms and start dressing without much care. If you notice a significant change in the way people treat you, it means you were above average looking. If there is no change at all, you have been unattractive from the beginning. Story 14. This is a meaningless question because the variability in what different people find attractive is much greater than the difference in attractiveness between a 5.5 out of 10 and a 7 out of 10 on average. As long as you are making a reasonable effort with your appearance, Keeping in mind that hygiene and attitude probably play a bigger role than you think, you will be above average to someone. Story 15. I think I qualify for it. I don't have issues dating. I get a lot of attention from women and get hit on fairly often. I have been rejected a few times but usually do well. People, even strangers or just people at the gym, compliment me a lot. I am definitely not Henry Cavill or anything in terms of looks. I think I am firmly in the 7 out of 10 zone. Story 16. Mid-tier men are aware they are in genetic purgatory. They know they are not gods, but capitalism gave them a cheat code. Status, humor, or money can inflate their score to a 9. Story 17. I am a confident 7.5 and often turn heads. I wouldn't say I am special, but I keep clean and maintain a well-trimmed beard. I have a well-built frame at 6 feet 2 inches. Basically, enough for a girl to look back and think, damn. Story 18. I guess you can literally add it up. But it all boils down to confidence and the freedom of expression. My mom says I am a husky little bean. Story 19. I think being in that 6 to 8 range is the sweet spot. People treat you nicer than if you are average or below average because you get a halo effect. At the same time, you are not intimidating to be around or interact with like people can be when they are too attractive. Story 20. There is no objective rank to the way you look. Why do you think so many women find their partner absolutely angelic, while their best friend thinks he looks like a gremlin? Because people view beauty differently. If you want to be more attractive, the best thing you can do is work out and be kind, regardless of gender. Being a good person greatly influences how attractive people perceive you. I genuinely don't think all the comments about people treating you better if you are pretty apply when you are no longer in middle school. Why would I ever treat random people in my social circle based on how they look, or even care about their appearance? The only man I view as beautiful is my boyfriend. Other men's beauty or ugliness is completely irrelevant to me, and therefore I am blind to it. The only exception is when someone acts unpleasant, in which case I start seeing them as ugly. Story 21. I'm higher on the scale, and I've realized I'm much more attracted to people who are intriguing rather than just conventionally attractive. Give me someone who can keep me thinking and laughing. Abs are played out. I want you to catch my South Park references. Story 22. You would know. People treat you differently, and you may get more attention on dating websites. The complicated thing is that everybody's taste differs. I have often been bullied because of my looks, but at the same time, multiple people have expressed the desire to be with me in a relationship. There are models who many people might find attractive, while I look at them and think, no. Story 23. I think when women of many different ethnicities, cultures, and age groups tend to like you, it indicates that you are universally attractive. Story 24. I see a lot of these types of posts, and I wonder if people think that being vain or having vanity makes them more attractive because they believe they are more attractive. Not everyone classifies people the same way in terms of their looks. Some people have good looks and can be rough guys or mountain men like myself. Attraction or having good looks is something great. But what happens when you are older and those looks start to fade? You need to have a combination of things that create an overall impression that makes you good looking. A positive and charismatic personality combined with good looks definitely sets you apart better than someone who is muscular and goes to the gym all day but cannot hold a conversation. Story 25. I am obese, morbidly so. A little over 6 feet tall, a little over 400 pounds, though I generally say I am 6 feet and 400 pounds. I would not describe myself as anything in particular as far as looks go, but a handful of people have let me know I would be attractive if I were not fat. That message has been said more than 3 times in a couple of different ways by various people. Additionally, I have had a surprising amount of luck with dating. More than any other man close to my size and in my income bracket that I have ever heard of, especially considering that outside of being in high school, every woman I have met over the years has been through a dating site or later an app. Estimating, I have been on around 40 or so first dates and have had about 25 women interested enough for sex. If I wanted to just have casual sex, then I would think that meant something, but as it is just for reference. Personally, I do not think I am slightly above average looking compared to an average-sized man, but I am pretty sure that if there were a female equivalent to a chubby chaser, then I am absolutely above average. I do not have a celebrity look-alike, but I have described myself as looking like the actors from Game of Thrones who played Jon Snow and Samwell Tarly combined, or like John Rhys Davies circa The Quest, but with a full head of hair and beard. Story 26. It often happens that people tell me I have a beautiful face. Not my mother. She is quite mean to me, to be honest. But especially older ladies who have no issues tell you what they think. Sometimes people stare at me and tell me I have beautiful eyes. Chinese people, they are very outspoken. With Chinese people, you find out immediately. Once the boyfriend of a colleague started telling her I was beautiful. I never felt more out of place. To be honest, I don't think I am that beautiful. I see many flaws, but my friends tell me this kind of thing never happens to them. I am short, but if we exclude those weird post-COVID years, I usually have a high success rate with generally attractive girlfriends or girls with whom I have casual relationships. With short girls, I am near a 100% success rate. But to be honest, I don't think success with girls has much to do with being above average. A friend of mine is like godlike, but he is so clumsy, boring, and weird that he stayed a virgin for a long time after he moved to the other side. Story 27. A rating of 5.5 to 7 out of 10 means the person is attractive. A score of 7 would place someone in the top 30%, so they are very good looking. I would say 4 to 6 out of 10 is average. For a man, it is generally about how strangers treat him and how they react if he tries to start a conversation. If they are open to talking, there is a good chance they at least think he is average looking. Story 28. Any thread like this is completely useless without photos of everyone's face. People are extremely delusional, and most do not have any grasp of what a conventionally attractive person looks like compared to someone they find attractive or compared to how they look. Or they do, but choose to live in a fantasy world. I have seen people post on Reddit who are honestly like 2 out of 10 saying that they scored a 10 out of 10 wife, but she is the same 2 out of 10 they are. This is in cases where their profile had actual pictures, which is somewhat rare. I am talking about real bottom of the barrel, and I do not say that to be mean, just harsh reality. It seems to be very common. The coping mechanism is strong. That is how humans are most of the time. Add to that the benefit of anonymity, and you cannot get any sort of realistic picture from these threads about real-life attraction. You can only observe it for yourself in real life. Story 29. Slightly above average is the absolute top of the bell curve. Generally, most people will seem more interested and affable towards you. In both cases of very ugly or extremely attractive, it can be a lonely road since most people will be either repulsed or intimidated by you, respectively, with equal energy. This can leave introverted yet very attractive people thinking for a long time that maybe they are repulsive. Story 30. You start to lose your hair, and then you notice the sudden absence of female attention far more than you ever noticed its presence. Story 31. You get noticed here and there. While you may see an attractive woman from a distance, more often than not, she notices you back. Women tend to initiate more conversations with you and flirt openly, probably without knowing you well. They might compliment you more than usual, flirt, and assume you have more female attention than you actually do. Female friends often engage in playful, flirtatious banter, hoping you will make a move. They seek more alone time and closer, more intimate moments with you, make more eye contact, break the touch barrier, get physically closer, and display flirtatious energy while staying close to you. Story 32. If you are unattractive, you would know. They get bullied growing up. I actually do not know if above average men and average men live very different lives. Story 33. You are rewarded for toxic behavior, and warning signs are ignored by women. However, if you are average, everything is considered an issue and creepy. Story 34. I'm a 10, but only because the scale stops there. I'm one of the few men on the planet whom women find attractive and one of the even fewer men on the planet who actually receives attention from women. I am just quoting some of the comments I have seen to the original poster and laughing my head off. Story 35. People are kind to you, and generally, those you are attracted to are also attracted to you. Story 36. Suddenly, everyone wants to be your friend. People want to get to know you. There are lingering stares, and people compliment your outfit and looks. You take and post selfies and look in the mirror often with confidence. Some people are jealous of you and start making hateful comments like, he or she is okay, or, I don't see why everyone is interested. People want to hang out with you. Sexual comments increase. People give you gifts. These gifts do not necessarily have to be free. Story 37. If you can punch above your class in the dating department, I think I fall into this category, so I speak from experience. I am not good looking enough for women to have interest in me based on a first impression in settings such as bars, clubs, or on the street. However, I am able to date girls who are better looking than me after being in friend groups or school together and getting to know me. The downside is that I do not have great luck on dating applications where looks are a big part of the game. As we get older, it becomes harder to meet new people otherwise. I think being in this attractive range creates many situations where girls attracted to me are not the ones I am attracted to, and the girls I am attracted to are not attracted to me. I have some sort of pull, but it is not strong enough to attract the girls I like without putting in serious effort. Story 38. I fancy that I am in the higher end of that range. I have been told that I am cute, once in a blue moon, handsome. But I also know that a lot of it is energy, getting back what I put out, which I hope is that I am relaxed, empathetic, good-humored, generous, and nice. Some things that reinforce that for me are when I smile at people, men or women, they generally smile back. I can also be persuasive. People open up to me pretty easily. I have had multiple people tell me this, which is not always a blessing. So yes, things like that. Story 39. You get touched from time to time by strangers, like on the shoulder while interacting. For example, a woman who is 30 to 50 years old or older, and you can sense she is interested in younger men. Story 40. When women stare at you long enough for you to notice but do not do anything and just go on with their life. Story 41. You would not. Almost everyone knows they are below average, or in some cases, they are confident they are quite good looking. No man checks the mirror before leaving the house and thinks, slightly above average. Story 42. It depends on many additional factors. I would also say I had several years when ladies had conversations with me, saying, oh, you are attractive, or, oh, you have big shoulders, along with other random compliments. Another measure is ladies asking you out or approaching you for intimacy, specifically not to start a relationship. Regarding dating sites, I hear many men say they do not hear from women. From 2008 to 2012, I was on dating sites and usually received messages from several women every week. Sometimes I had a few dates in a week or set up 3 to 5 dates on a Friday or Saturday. Story 43. My ex was a model and influencer. I had a United Kingdom city break last week and stayed in a hostel. Pretty much all the girls there were clamoring for my attention. I hooked up with one, which then immediately makes you off limits to the others because people talk, but that was fine. I have also been told how good looking I am all my life, and women tell me in real life in bars and other places. It's not everything, though. When I'm at my peak in bars and other settings, I'm probably around the 9.5 to 10 mark. Otherwise, I rate myself 8.75 when wearing sweats, needing a beard trim or haircut. Story 44. It is a matter of exposure. Even someone very attractive might not get much attention if they interact with the same few people every day. Story 45. Guys in general often have no idea if they are attractive or not, for what it's worth. I had crippling anxiety in my early 20s and thought women were never interested. In retrospect, the opposite was true. My current wife, who I always thought was way out of my league, had to ask me out because I had such terrible self-confidence. Story 46. My best suggestion is to try a few dating applications, upload your best photos, and start swiping. You will quickly learn what most women think of you. Good luck, friend. Story 47. A good sign is that women will say it sometimes, and they will show in their body language everywhere you go that they are attracted to you. However, there are negatives, such as other men becoming envious of you easily, and even women blocking you from other women or being mean to you when they realize they cannot have you or you do not want them. Story 48. I would say I am a 7, plus or minus 1 depending on the day. I feel much more invisible since moving out of London. I attribute that to age, perhaps. I do not need to know, as I am in a loving relationship. I have never struggled to find a boyfriend or date, so maybe that is the proof of the pudding. Story 49. The perfect woman that all the other men admire at every job I go to eventually does something inappropriate towards me. One blonde woman pretended to flash me when I asked where her apron was, under her hoodie. "Flash," she said, and her coworker friend giggled. One goth woman cornered me in the cooler when I was getting something for a customer and pulled up her jeggings so I could see her camel toe. I have built muscles since 2016. That is when all the weirdness started. Story 50. There is actually science behind this. Here is a good explanation with sources. Story 51. I am a good 8, so let me tell you I am in my mid-30s. First, most relatives or friends of relatives, especially older people, will always compliment you on how good you look, especially if it has been a long time since they last saw you. Since I was a kid, I have been complimented on how cute I was. I have rarely been given the cold shoulder when approaching women in public settings such as bars, gyms, or offices and schools. Women openly compliment my smile, eyes, and other features. This gives me the confidence and flexibility to approach any woman. I have been with some very high-value women, such as doctors and lawyers. Overall, people noticeably treat me better, both men and women. It is much easier to get what you want from people. Fortunately, guys do not need to be an 8 or higher. Get in shape, be clean, dress well, have a nice haircut, fix your teeth, and become a 6 or 7 unless you have really terrible genetics, and that should do it. Story 52. Not a guy, but I'm sure your life would get really uncomfortable too. The attention is cute when you're doing something new, but other than that, no. It's annoying. You have to act tough when you're used to being ladylike just so nobody attempts or thinks about snatching you. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.